A senator asks a simple yes or no question. The man about to run the FBI refuses to give one. That single moment in a Senate hearing room exposed something bigger than politics as usual. A nominee unwilling to say whether a former FBI director's name on his own enemies list would ever cost him anything. What happened next didn't just embarrass Kash Patel. It raised a question every American should be asking about power, loyalty, and who really answers to the law. Stick around, because this exchange says more about what came later than anyone realized at the time.
Mr. Patel, as part of my responsibility as a member of this committee, I asked the following two initial questions of all nominees before any of my committees. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator, I have not.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator, I have not.
Mr. Patel, you have been a champion of the January 6th prison choir. You have stated that the choir's members were, quote, incarcerated as a result of their involvement in the January 6, 2021 protest for election integrity, end quote. And one of the choir members is Julian Cater, who pled guilty. He pled guilty to assaulting officers with a deadly weapon. On January 6th, he attacked Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick with pepper spray, and the next day, Officer Sicknick suffered from 2 strokes and died. Mr. Patel, was Mr. Cater protesting for election integrity? Yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
I'm not asking you who that is. I'm asking you whether, having heard the description of what he pled to, whether he was protesting for election integrity, yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
That is not responsive to my question. You're not willing to say that, but you were willing to describe this choir as consisting of people who were protesting for election integrity, and yet you testify you don't know them. We have heard already your book includes a list of 60 people who you think make up part of the executive branch deep state. Mr. Patel, if confirmed, do you plan to investigate President Trump's former FBI Director Christopher Wray? Yes or no?
I have no plans in going backwards. I have plans in safeguarding.
How about James Comey? Do you plan to investigate him?
Senator, every investigation will be subject to the same legal standard.
Do you plan to investigate James Comey, who's on your list?
I have no intentions of going backwards.
How about
Bill
Barr?
Intention of using the Constitution.
How about Bill Barr? Do you plan to investigate him, who's on your executive branch deep state, and you say you're going to ferret out the deep state?
No one
yes or
that
no?
did not break the law will be investigated.
No answers to any of those.
The question put FBI Director Kash Patel on the spot. Does he plan to investigate former FBI Director James Comey? It is a direct question with potentially significant implications, because any decision involving a former senior law enforcement official can raise questions about evidence, investigative standards, and institutional independence.
Over 1 million Americans died as a result of COVID-19. The COVID-19 vaccine saved lives, yet less than a year ago, you promoted unregulated, unproven, unscientific supplements to reverse the effects of the vaccine on Truth Social. You told your followers that these supplements would detox them of the COVID-19 vaccine. Mr. Patel, did you make money by promoting these supplements?
Senator, do you know of any individuals who died as a result of complications from the vaccine? Because I do.
Are you unable to answer my question, which is a straightforward, did you make money by promoting these supplements?
All of my financial disclosures have been made to this committee.
I would like to hear your answer, yes or no. Did you make money?
I don't have those financial disclosures. This is my third and last time I'm going to ask you that question. You have that information.
So you refuse to answer the question.
I answered 1,300 pages.
No answer, and yet you spread dangerous misinformation. Mr. Patel, the FBI is the primary agency responsible for investigating election-related crimes, including fraud and the denial of voting rights. So being able to separate fact from conspiracy theories around elections is an important thing for the FBI director. I have a question to see if you can do that. Mr. Patel, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 presidential election? Yes or no?
President Biden's election was certified. He was sworn in and he served as the president of the United States.
Once again, the people who are 100% loyal to President Trump cannot answer that question. It is alarming that you want to be an FBI director who can't answer a simple question, factual question. During a 2023 interview with Steve Bannon, you said, quote, "We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about the American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections." There's your quote.
The key issue is not simply whether Comey could become the subject of an investigation. The more important question is what threshold would justify federal action. An investigation, if pursued, would need to be grounded in applicable law and evidence, rather than political pressure or public expectations.
Do you still plan to come after the free press?
Not unless private citizens have been defamed. That's their right.
You said that you would be going after the media. So I want to know whether you plan to do that. Go after the free media.
I can't go after the media for other people. That's a decision they have.
So I would say that was a statement that you made that is pretty chilling to the free media. So I didn't hear a no that you would not go after them. You currently serve on the board of directors for the Trump Media Technology Group, which owns the social media platform Truth Social. If confirmed as FBI director, will you resign from this position and end all ties with the Trump Media and Technology Group?
Yes, Senator, as I've stated to you in writing.
Over the last 2 years, the FBI has dedicated resources to Operation Not Forgotten, which works to address violent crime in Indian country. Mm-hmm. If confirmed as FBI director, would you continue the important work of Operation Not Forgotten?
I've made that commitment to many of your colleagues who have tribal issues and tribal crimes plaguing their communities, and I'll make that commitment to you as well, Senator.
My time is almost up, but I would like to note that on the many questions asked about the choir, the J6 choir, it included at least 5 men who pled guilty to assaulting police officers. And these are the people whose record this nominee promotes. Thank you.
At his Senate Judiciary Committee confirmation hearing, Kash Patel found himself boxed into one of the most uncomfortable exchanges of the entire session when Senator Mazie Hirono asked him directly whether he intended to investigate former FBI Director James Comey. Rather than answering with a simple yes or no, Patel responded by saying he had no intentions of going backwards and no intention of using the Constitution improperly. It was a masterclass in political deflection. The kind of answer that technically responds to a question without actually answering it. Hirono didn't let it go easily, pressing him further and pointing out that his answer wasn't responsive to what she'd actually asked. Senate. What made this moment so significant wasn't just the dodge itself, but the context surrounding it. Patel had authored a book listing dozens of individuals he characterized as part of an executive branch deep state, and Comey's name appeared on that very list alongside other former officials like Christopher Wray and Bill Barr. When a nominee for the nation's top law enforcement position won't rule out investigating people he has already publicly labeled as adversaries, that's not just an awkward hearing moment. That's a legitimate governance question. Senators on both sides of the aisle have a duty to probe whether someone stepping into that role will use its power even-handedly or selectively. And Patel's refusal to give a clean answer left that question hanging in the air. Patel's defenders would argue that his caution was appropriate, that no nominee should pre-commit to targeting specific individuals before taking office, since doing so could itself look like political retribution baked in from day one. There's a reasonable version of that argument, A prospective FBI director shouldn't be handing out promises about who will or won't face scrutiny before he's even seen classified briefings or reviewed evidence. But the problem is that Patel didn't frame his non-answer that way. He didn't say, "I can't prejudge any case." He offered vague, circling language about not going backwards, which read less like principled restraint and more like someone trying to avoid saying what he actually believed in front of live camera. Looking at how this story unfolded in the time since, that hearing only adds weight to the original concern. Comey was eventually indicted, a development that critics and legal observers alike have scrutinized closely. Given the years-long buildup of public statements from Patel and others in Trump's orbit, signaling exactly this kind of action against people on that so-called list. Whether or not the legal case holds up in court is a separate matter that will be decided by prosecutors, defense attorneys, and ultimately a jury or judge. But the political optics of the situation are impossible to ignore. A nominee who couldn't commit to fairness in a hearing room, followed months later by charges against the very person he was asked about, is the kind of sequence that erodes public trust in the impartiality of federal law enforcement, regardless of which side of the aisle someone sits on. At the end of the day, this moment matters because it goes to the heart of what people expect from institutions like the FBI. Consistency, independence, and the assurance that law enforcement decisions are being made on the merits rather than on old grudges or political enemies lists. My honest take is that Patel's evasiveness in that hearing wasn't a minor stumble. It was a preview of exactly the kind of uncertainty that has defined his tenure since. Whether you view the eventual Comey case as justified accountability or as retribution dressed up in legal language likely depends on your politics, but the discomfort in that original exchange was earned, and it's fair for the public to keep demanding real answers, rather than rehearsed evasions from the people entrusted with that much power.